So to set the scene, we have the Leasehold Reform Act 1967, which relates exclusively to houses. This was driven by a Labour government, and in 1966 the White Paper on Leasehold Reform was published, setting out the government's intention to legislate to allow tenants of long leases to acquire their freehold or an extended lease. This White Paper was based on the proposition that the leasehold system was unfair to leaseholders and conferred benefits on landlords. To address the injustice of leaseholders of low-value properties, and that was initially, and it started off in the Welsh mining towns, who would have nothing to show for it when their lease expired, the Act was brought in. This brings us on to the perhaps even knottier issue of buildings divided into flats. We know that the definition tolerates that. So the building can be divided horizontally into flats or maisonettes. There does, however, remain considerable doubt about the extent to which a building divided into flats can be a house reasonably so called. A building built to look like a house, but containing two or more flats, has been held to be a house reasonably so called, even if the flats are completely separate and have their own external doors. So let's look a bit more closely at the business lease exception contained in section 5(2)(a). So a person is not a qualifying tenant where the lease is a business lease. Section 101(1) defines a business lease, and this means a tenancy to which Part 2 of the Landlord and Tenant Act applies. So the flat is occupied by the tenant for the purposes of a business carried on by the tenant or for those and other purposes. So it could be mixed use, coming back to mixed use again.